tonight. Canada's single-use plastics ban is facing its first legal test, and the government of Saskatchewan is having its say.
Every summer we deal with hundreds of wildfires.
Also, a new filmed in Saskatchewan docu-series premieres tonight, featuring the heroes who battle wildfires in the province's north. Plus, her daughter is her inspiration. We meet the Regina woman who is competing to be on the cover of Inked magazine.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Tuesday, March 7th, and the CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. Good evening, and thanks for joining us. The Saskatchewan government is once again accusing the federal government of illegal overreach. This time, the province is challenging Ottawa's authority to ban single-use plastics. Others are fighting the ban too, but for different reasons. We begin tonight with David Thurton on what happened in federal court today.
A small protest for what is a big court case. A fight, they say, between nature and the big plastic lobby.
This is one of the largest environmental cases for Canada. It's similar to when the government was looking for a price on carbon and carbon pollution.
The case touches on the federal government's justification for listing plastics as toxic. Hanging in the balance is Ottawa's ability to ban single-use plastic items, something shoppers have now embraced, some reluctantly.
Now they're bringing back paper bags, which is hard to carry. You know, plastic bags are more convenient. You can carry it around, it's strong. Paper is it's ridiculous. I mean, it can rip in the snow.
I think it's great. It's pretty easy to bring your own bags, backpacks especially. It's not too bad, so I think it's a really great step.
A federal judge is hearing arguments from governments, environmental groups, and plastic companies. Lawyers for Imperial Oil, Dow Chemical, and others say they don't oppose reducing pollution, just the way the government is going about doing it. According to a legal brief the plastics industry filed in court, the federal government's plan has fatal flaws. Among those, it says it's not the federal government's place to regulate plastics. It's the provinces and territories. The government's decision to regulate all plastic products, it says, may be motivated by laudable goals like diverting waste from landfills. However, those goals must be pursued in accordance with the Constitution. The companies also say the federal government doesn't have enough science to back up the plastics ban. But Ottawa points to plastics littering rivers, even ending up in the water we drink.
We won't be deterred by a few international companies, multinationals, who are looking at their economic interest instead of looking at the greater interest of Canadians and the environment.
All of this is being weighed by a federal court judge, knowing that their decision, still a couple of months away, could in effect overturn the government's single-use plastic ban. David Thurton, CBC News, Ottawa.
The Saskatchewan government says the federal government is overstepping by declaring this ban on certain single-use plastics. It appeared virtually in court alongside Alberta to argue Ottawa doesn't have the jurisdiction to make this kind of decision.
We felt it was an important opportunity to once again assert the fact that this is an overreach by the federal government, and there are a lot of other issues involved here, cost to the economy, to small business, and just the whole issue of environmental regulation and who controls what, and avoiding unnecessary duplication and certainly cost.
The Justice Minister argues the federal jurisdiction is limited to toxic substances such as lead, arsenic, mercury, and dangerous industrial chemicals. She says that does not include plastic bags and cutlery. Fraudulent also says the ban is bad timing for businesses. The opposition NDP says the province should lower power rates to help people with the cost of living. Prior to last year, SaskPower's last rate increase was in 2018. Last summer, the rate review panel recommended an increase of 4%, which took effect in September, and another 4% hike in April of this year. That's in addition to a separate 3% increase implemented by the Crown Corporation January 1st. Today, in question period, opposition leader Carla Beck called on the Premier to stop the increase to SaskPower bills set for next month.
Now, this is a Premier who is looking to again raise power bills for the third time in just a few months. Mr. Speaker, people in this province are already paying the price. This weekend, I talked to a gentleman who's in his 70s, and he told me how proud he was that he has always paid his utility bills on time, up until now.
Premier Scott Moe says the utility bundle in Saskatchewan is the second lowest in the country. Moe also mentioned the $500 affordability checks that were mailed out last year. Waitlists for daycare spots across Saskatchewan are long, and that includes in small towns and rural communities. Now that the federal and provincial governments have reached their goal of $10 a day for licensed childcare, daycares in small towns expect the waitlist to grow even longer. Laura Sharpaletti has that story.
In the town of Moosomin, more than 200 kilometers east of Regina, there's just one licensed daycare. Playfair Daycare in Moosomin is full with 71 children, and there are another 60 on the wait list. The director says $10 a day daycare is good for parents, but won't solve the shortage of staff and spaces.
Oh, I definitely anticipate it to get worse. Yeah, like I get it. I know they're trying to make it affordable for both parents to be able to go back to work, right? But they're not taking into consideration of who's staffing these places to run, to take care of these kids.
In the north, the director of La Ronge Childcare Cooperative Churchill says it has 41 children and a wait list of 70. Daycare operators expect $10 a day daycare will entice more parents to seek childcare, making wait lists even longer. A daycare in Shellbrook says it has physical space for more children, but not enough workers. The director says one issue is that uncertified workers are limited to just 65 hours a month.
If we could have your workers required to take their courses after they've done a 3-month probation period would be better. Only being able to work 65 hours in a month without your education is very difficult to find ladies.
We're really trying to be flexible with our post-secondary institutions that do provide the training, flexible with their employers, knowing that they don't want to lose an employee for whatever length of time that is. So working with them to see, is there a way that we can backfill that staff member so that that staff member can go and do their education.
Duncan says that of the first 2,000 licensed childcare spaces they created, more than half were outside Regina, Saskatoon, and Prince Albert. Laura Sharpaletti, CBC News, Regina.
An update now to the story of 4 junior hockey players who were suspended from the Moose Jaw Warriors. The Edmonton Police Service says it has found nothing criminal after investigating an incident that led to the suspension. 4 players with the team were suspended indefinitely by the Western Hockey League. It followed a home game against the Edmonton Oil Kings February 8th. Edmonton police say they also looked into the matter and now say they believe the incident is non-criminal in nature. The WHL will only say the suspensions are pending an investigation into possible violations of team rules and the WHL standard of conduct policies, but it hasn't revealed which policies or rules had allegedly been violated in the case. The suspended players are Connor Unger, Max Warner, Lyndon Lakovic, and Merrick Howell. They range in age from 16 to 21. A new docu-series following wildland firefighters in Saskatchewan's Indigenous and northern communities premieres this week.
Good afternoon, Firebase.
It's called Guardians of the North and captures firefighters as they protect people, property, and resources. The 6 episodes feature the Saskatchewan Public Safety Agency, Muscadet First Nations Fire Department, and the Saskatchewan First Nations Emergency Management Team as they trained for and battled wildfires last summer. Guardians of the North received a feature film and TV production grant from Creative Saskatchewan. Today, the man behind the docu-series touted the importance of local productions.
And I hope that people get a glimpse at these heroic individuals that are tasked with, like I said, when people are running away from the fire, they're running into the fire. Their job is to protect people, and it's really amazing and was amazing to witness that throughout the summer. I've spent, the better part of 30 years traveling all over the world, probably 70, 80 countries, all over the place filming for all kinds of broadcasters. And it's nice to be able to film a story in our backyard. My family's here. My friends are here. I'm not leaving. I love Saskatchewan. My roots are here. My grandpa came here and started farming right after the First World War. He was given a plot here, and we've been here ever since. And it is nice to be able to go home at the end of the day after we're filming. And I think I see Dawn, one of our producers, nodding her head. As a mom, she likes to go home at the end of the day when she's filming. And it's also nice to highlight local heroes.
The provincial government says its $276,000 investment is expected to see an estimated $1.3 million of economic output back into Saskatchewan. You can catch the first episode tonight at 10 p.m. on City TV, Saskatchewan. Medical students can now take their entire program in Regina thanks to a newly expanded University of Saskatchewan campus. Students, instructors, and funding partners gathered at Regina General Hospital today to celebrate the expansion. A new classroom, study spaces, and an anatomy lab have been added to the Regina campus. Until recently, medical students had to start in Saskatoon and could only move to Regina in their second year. Now they can avoid disruption and take all 4 years in Regina. The U of S also hopes to attract more program applicants from southern Saskatchewan.
I've been hearing it that there's not the same opportunities in Regina that there is in Saskatoon for starting your medical career. So we wanted to be able to provide that. So if there is somebody from Weyburn, Estevan, Moose Jaw area, they could choose Regina closer to home, which helps out their studies as well.
The College of Medicine Regina campus is based at the General Hospital and is home to about 160 medical students and 100 residents. Oh, this cold weather is for the birds. Another brisk day in southern Saskatchewan. This is how conditions looked in Saskatoon today. And it looks like we are getting a bit of a warm-up coming, but so is some snow. Ethan will have all the details in his forecast after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. A Regina woman wants to be on the cover of Inked magazine. She's competing for votes in a contest that celebrates the art of tattooing. And as Bonnie Allen reports, the single mother turns to her daughter for inspiration.
It's a unisloth.
No, slothicorn.
It's a slothicorn.
Shay Prokop has 60 tattoos on her body, but her favorites were not designed by professional artists. Instead, she uses drawings from her loved ones, like birthday cards and Christmas cards from her daughter Sierra.
My daughter's drawn me tattoos. My friends have drawn me tattoos, and I love it. Just lots and lots of meaning behind them.
It didn't start out that way. The 35-year-old got her first tattoo when she was 19.
I got an armband, but I was scared to go all the way around my arm because they made it sound very, very painful. So I have a half armband with flowers on it. And it went from that to like 60 around my body.
Over time, she wanted them to have more meaning. Her boyfriend has drawn tattoos to honor Prokop's love of baking and gardening, and Prokop uses body art to reflect her experience with endometriosis, a hidden but painful gynecological disease. When she had a hysterectomy 3 years ago, she got this tattoo of a stuffed animal she received in the hospital.
Getting that it was a way to wear the disease and show awareness for it.
Now she's one of thousands of women vying for votes to become the next cover model for Inked magazine. The winner gets a spot on the cover, a tattoo from a famous artist, and $25,000 cash. The single mother admits she sometimes worries her daughter will be embarrassed by her tattoos. But Sierra says, no way.
But I'm going to be 13 this month, and I can already tell that I'm not going to be, because I really love my mom, and she deserves my art on her body.
Prokop believes the CoverGirl contest is a way to celebrate art and to challenge traditional definitions of beauty.
You're beautiful just the way you are.
If Prokop wins the cash, she says she'll use it to buy a house and get more tattoos. Bonnie Allen, CBC News.
I like colors.
There is a disturbing and illegal trend in how animals are being surrendered at animal shelters across Alberta. Some people who got a pandemic pet during lockdown are pretending the animal they don't want anymore is a stray. This, so already bursting shelters will accept it. The rise in fraudulent surrenders means Edmonton bylaw is laying fines regularly. Katarina Schultz explains.
It's the latest fallout from the pandemic boom in pet ownership. People are showing up at shelters across the province and trying to pass off their own animals as strays. The result is an increase in animals waiting for owners who will never show up.
People are bringing in these owned animals that have identification on them that traces back to the person that's come into our facility. So what that means is that that animal comes in as a stray and sits here waiting for somebody that's never coming in to get them.
Fewer and fewer animals ranging from cats and dogs to baby bunnies and reptiles are being claimed, causing a ripple effect throughout Alberta shelters that are all operating above capacity. An Edmonton bylaw has a section in providing false or misleading information to an officer, and officers say they are fining pet owners regularly.
You could face fines up to $20,000 or a lifetime prohibition of owning animals. And the prohibition is really what we aim for when we go through with these files through the courts, because if you can't own an animal, you can't do it again.
Shelters are now looking for foster homes to help lighten the load.
I would say the extremeness of it has been going on for probably about a year and a half. It's been quite a bit. So I can't even blame COVID for it. It's kind of been like a year and a half to almost 2 years of just constant uphill battle of surrendering animals.
The rescue center in Morinville, about 40 kilometers north of Edmonton, opened in October to keep up with the demand of surrendered animals. Within a week, it was already full.
So rural areas definitely get hit hardest, and the reason being is there's usually no bylaws or like there's a pound out there usually, but there's no bylaws of like limits of animals that you can have in one place.
Katarina Schultz, CBC News, Edmonton.
This weather update is brought to you by It's March, It's Madness at Capital Ford Lincoln.
And our weather specialist, Ethan Williams, joins me now. Are you starting the petition for an office cat?
Oh, I would love one in here. I think we should bring it right on set. Just help me do the weather. I think they could be pretty good predictors of things to come, But who knows? Maybe that's something coming in our future. One thing that is coming in our future is warmer temperatures. But for now, we are remaining on the cold side of things, and this is a look at how temperatures this afternoon at around 3 o'clock compare to where we should be this time of year. A lot of us is still a good 10 to 15 degrees below normal, and you can really feel that in southeastern Saskatchewan. You should be close to freezing, but today only got up to around minus 15 in Weyburn and Estevan. Even the north of the province in the Churchill region, looking at temperatures of 5 to 10 degrees below normal for this time of year. And right now, a lot of us still sitting into the minus teens, minus 20 along the northeastern portion of the province. In southwestern Saskatchewan, traditionally where it's a little bit warmer, you're actually joining the rest of us today in some below seasonal conditions. Now, wind picking up a little bit, especially in west central portions of the province this afternoon. Gusts close to around 40 kilometers an hour, and that is fueling a little bit of a wind chill. In the north, a lot better than it was this time yesterday, where you were getting close to minus 45 with the wind chill. No warnings for you for extreme cold in that part of the province. But again, through south and central, and especially in west central Saskatchewan, starting to see those get close to minus 25, minus 30. The wind also causing some visibility issues, getting down to around 3-4 kilometers an hour. Saw some photos out near Kindersley of Highway 7 between the Alberta border and Rosetown, getting some reduced visibility in there. So do be careful if you're headed out that direction. Now for southern Saskatchewan tonight, I think we could still see a little bit of some snow flurries or maybe some light snow, but still cloudy tomorrow. That will be the continuing theme tomorrow as well, with some cloud cover, but high pressure starts to move into the north. Tomorrow afternoon, we're actually looking at a fairly sunny day in the north of the province. And then moving through the day Thursday, there's another small system bringing some moisture to the south. Now, in terms of precipitation, it's really not all that much, but probably about 1 centimeter tonight with this system. Tomorrow, another centimeter adding on to that, and then add another centimeter on Thursday, which means we'll be topping out around 1 to 3 centimeters probably over the next 48 hours or so. Wind gusts going to be a little less strong than they were today. Heading into tomorrow, gusts up to 35 kilometers an hour, maybe close to 40 in around the Lloydminster area, and then a similar picture heading into Thursday. But again, especially the further north and east you work, it looks like we're going to be seeing lighter winds. For Regina over these next few days, again, incremental snowfall these next 2 days and gradually warming up until we get to Saturday. And this is your forewarning that Saturday looks like we could see a bit of a clipper system moving through. So some moderate snowfall, winds picking up, could be some blowing snow in there before things clear up and we get warmer heading into the beginning of next week. Saskatoon, similar story for you. And again, possibly on Saturday being affected by that system, but it will bring a little bit of warmer air. The overnight lows finally getting above -10. A little bit breezy as we head into the beginning of next week. A clipper system, Sam. Been a while since southern Saskatchewan has seen that.
Just casually drops a clipper in right at the end of your weather. Thanks, Ethan.
Leave that there.
We're back with more news after the break. Opposition parties say they are not happy with the Prime Minister's response to alleged election meddling, but they aren't walking away. It comes after Justin Trudeau announced last night that he'd appoint a special rapporteur to investigate claims that China interfered in the last 2 federal elections. Ashley Burke has the latest.
He could pick someone independent, but he won't.
Pierre Poilievre casting doubt today on the Prime Minister's appointment of a special rapporteur before they're even selected.
He'll pick another Liberal establishment insider, a real Ottawa insider with some gray hair.
We will, of course, be open to suggestions that the various parties put forward for names.
The Prime Minister has been under pressure for weeks to launch a public inquiry into Beijing's attempts to interfere in the past 2 federal elections. Trudeau's now outsourced the decision on an inquiry to the rapporteur and also said he'd consult political parties on who should get that job. But how much say they'll have isn't clear.
We will ensure that whoever is chosen is someone who both has the capacity to ensure that we're doing all the right things to fight interference and has the capacity to give all Canadians confidence.
Trudeau also tasked 2 other intelligence review bodies with investigating, including one that involves parliamentarians. The opposition says even though it's not a public inquiry, they'll take part.
We will be part of every and any process that will anyhow contribute to protect our democracy.
Our member of parliament that's present on the committee, Don Davies, will participate, of course, but we want to be clear, we don't think that's sufficient.
Trudeau has admitted his government has been slow to follow up on past recommendations about how to tackle foreign interference, and he said that they need to do better on that front. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
And Ethan and his surprises is back with one last look at your weather.
No clippers in this forecast, Sam, but we will be clipping toward a little bit of snow tomorrow afternoon in Regina, looking at mostly cloudy conditions to start the day. Wind chill still around -27, so pretty cold as you head out the door, and that chance of flurries builds in as we head toward the afternoon. Not going to be getting much warmer, I think, than -14, but again, marginal accumulation, I think, for Regina tomorrow. Saskatoon, another equally cold morning, -19, mostly cloudy conditions. I think you'll escape the snow for the most part, or any flurries or anything like that. But again, wind chill close to the -30 mark, and then not getting much warmer as we head toward the noon hour. Our provincial bird on display out at Humboldt Lake. Big thanks to Brad and Pam Howe, who grabbed this shot of a sharp-tailed grouse. It's the 78th anniversary, Sam, of this bird becoming our provincial bird this year.
Where you get these things sometimes, Ethan, I have no idea.
Got to have them on hand.
Happy 78th anniversary, I guess.
Yeah,
Thanks,
indeed.
Ethan.
Happy birthday.
Well, that's it for us tonight. For news anytime, you can head to cbc.ca/sask or subscribe to CBC Saskatchewan's YouTube channel. Dan Plaster and Ethan are back more tonight at 11. Thanks for watching and have a great night.